Peace. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Queen Elle and I'm an astrologer. Now, typically, I talk about all things related to astrology, but as I mentioned in a previous video, which I will link above, I have decided to start also talking about other topics that are of relevance to me and that may be of relevance to you. So I have many astrology related videos and more to come. We have current things taking place right now. I posted videos last week, so I will also link those for you to watch if you haven't done so already. But today we're going to talk about something that is a burr in my side right now, and that is that girl Peri. Now, I have 5 different symptoms, side effects related to perimenopause that I experience pretty frequently and some intermittently. And then I have a few that I feel are less commonly spoken about, but are still pressing and are issues nonetheless. So I'm not a medical professional, and nothing that I discuss in today's video is to be used as medical advice or in lieu of medical advice. So of course, if you have any questions that are medical related, or if you are just interested in learning more about perimenopause, then I definitely recommend that you consult with a medical professional. Now that that's out of the way, let's get started. I have my notebook as usual, and first, by definition, this is not the official medical definition, but by definition, perimenopause is just like it sounds. It is the precursor to menopause. It is the point in a woman's reproductive cycle throughout her life where she is close to menopause but has not yet reached menopause. And menopause occurs when a woman has the absence of a menstrual period for at least 12 months straight. They have to be 12 consecutive months. They can't be 11 months, then a period, and then another month of no period. It has to be 12 consistent months, consecutive months of no period, and then a woman is deemed as having experienced menopause, and then she is considered postmenopausal. Perimenopause is, again, the precursor to all of that. But this is literally, it could be like decades leading up to menopause where a woman experiences all of these things that happen. And so I'm going to mention some of them today. They are, like I said, pretty common and pretty regularly experienced by women who are also going through perimenopause. I will say I'm going to speak about myself personally. These are things that I have previously and am currently experiencing today. And like I said, they're a burr in my side. I do recognize and appreciate just going through another transition in life. And so I do often like to find the silver lining in things. However, it's like a hot old mess. I cannot lie about that. So let's get started. Now, I've already defined what perimenopause is for you. One of the main things that happens, and this is in no particular order, but this is as I was thinking of the different symptoms. These are the ones that came to mind in this order. The first one is hot flashes and cold flashes. I don't think cold flashes get talked about enough. Hot flashes get talked about pretty frequently. And also, I will say that before I really get into these, I started experiencing some kind of weird things and other things that like now I know for sure were hot flashes. In my mid to late 30s, my oldest child is my daughter, and I used to braid her hair regularly. And I recall being about 35, or 36, and I started noticing what one could say was like the beginning of arthritis, but just in my hands. I started noticing my hands kind of tensing up, and me actually needing her to help me finish the braids that I was doing for her, because my hands just would kind of like, bother me to the point that I wasn't able to be the way I normally would with braiding her hair. So that was one of the first things. And around that time, I also started experiencing hot flashes. And because it was so infrequent, I was like, why am I so flustered all of a sudden? It just, I know now, I recognize it. We're old friends now. But feeling like that flustered feeling, that wave of heat over me, I was like, what am I feeling? What's going on? And it was crazy, but it was very infrequent. So just like with my daughter with the braids, I worked in the office in the corporate world back then, my previous life, and it was very infrequent. Like the hand thing was just braiding her hair. So if that was maybe like once a month, then it was like a once a month thing. And the rest of the time I didn't notice it. So not enough to, write home about. But the hot flashes nowadays, now that I'm over a decade older than the onset of all of that for me, it's maybe not every day, maybe it's every other day, but I may have some consecutive days where I feel I have hot flashes, or freezing, feeling really cold. And I will say that some of these things also could be symptoms of an undiagnosed condition or a diagnosed condition. They may be signals that your body is giving you that something else is going on. So of course, if you experience any of these things, you can seek medical attention, have them run labs, all the tests, do all the things to check yourself out to make sure that you are not experiencing something else. But in the absence of that, yeah, it's this thing, and it's just this phase of your life. And like I said, mainly because menopause, there's no set time when menopause starts. And also many of these things I have heard, menopausal women who are considered technically postmenopausal because they've already experienced that menopause point of their lives, where they're still experiencing all of these things or some of these things. So this is like really like a from here on out type of thing. But this phase is called perimenopause that I'm in anyway. So anyway, there's the cold where you feel real like a chill, like, oh, like it's freezing. Is everybody else freezing? And everybody else is like, no, it's fine. And you're having to throw on like an extra sweater or something. So that's an annoying occurrence. Next, I have a heart rate being elevated. This might be a lesser known one, although I have spoken with, let's say, a nurse at my doctor's office, and she's like, oh yeah, I remember experiencing that same thing. And the difference was she had a doctor when she experienced it, where when she presented that to the doctor said, oh yeah, that's probably what it is. Where in my case, I was told, maybe not. And that they would do all the checks to see if there was anything else that could cause it, like I was saying before. And I was told, nope, there's nothing causing, your heart rate to be elevated. Your heart is great. Everything else is checking out. But doing my own research, I have learned that, in fact, it is a possible side effect or symptom of perimenopause. So elevated heart rate. The next one is unexplained weight gain or weight loss. And like I mean, I could say this disclaimer for everything. It could be something else, but in the absence of anything else, that is something that is known to occur when you're going through perimenopause. And really, that's without trying to gain or lose weight, not doing anything deliberately to affect your weight. But also, the metabolism, I know, slows down as we get older, of course. And around this time, because of, the hormonal changes within women during this phase of our lives, it makes it more difficult to lose weight or to maintain your current weight, if that's a focal point for you. So that's just something to note, that this would also be why. Next is vision changes. And so as we age, our vision may change. However, due to hormonal changes again and going through this phase of our lives, it is common, I have been told by an eye doctor, that it is common for our vision to change at this point. And I have no problem admitting my age. So I am just shy of 47 years old. And yes, so I've been told that the vision change is real and that it's okay. It's not anything, really rare or anything. It's super common, especially at this point in our lives. And it may be linked to perimenopause. Next, we have cycle changes. So that's the obvious thing. We know that, our cycle is due to change because once you reach menopause, the cycle has stopped. However, those years that I mentioned that you're going through perimenopause leading up to menopause, which that menopause slash postmenopausal time, there is no set time for it to occur, or set, year or anything. It's different from woman to woman. So for some women, menopause could occur in their 50s. It can even happen in their 60s. And the way that we know this is not just by hearing anecdotal stories from women, but also we know that there are women who give birth well into their 50s. And so this time just really, it just spans a decade or more of our lives. I know that there are times when women are super close to approaching that menopausal slash postmenopausal time, that they give accounts of getting close to that 12-month period of no period and then having one and then starting that cycle over again. And so it being a very infrequent thing, but just frequent enough that they're still in the perimenopausal phase. So with that being said, that is something that happens during perimenopause. I would say even before we get to that point of starting to count months of having the absence of a period, is having just some wonky periods every month, some weird cycles where either you have a longer cycle than normal and that becomes the new norm for you, like instead of what's a typical 4-week cycle, having a 5 or 6 week cycle consistently, and that's just your cycle, to having shorter cycles, to having breakout or breakthrough time period times where you have spotting in between your full periods, or just your periods starting to last longer than normal, or also having them shorter than normal. So these are just things that happen as our body is going through these hormonal changes leading up to menopause. So that's another thing attributed to perimenopause. Then we have some of the different things that could occur that is typically hormonal, and then we see a spike in the occurrence of it when we're going through perimenopause, and that is skin changes. So If you're someone who typically has, let's say, oily or combination skin, now you're starting to notice that your skin is drier. You're having to change your skincare regimen to accommodate these changes in the texture of your skin, in the tone of your skin, having more hyperpigmentation, even experiencing hypopigmentation, and losing some of the melanin in your skin, just various things. These skin changes are very normal and common, can be common during perimenopause. The next thing would be hair and nail changes. And so this is where you start to hear more women taking collagen supplements to, on top of the B vitamin supplements, to enhance the wellness of their skin, hair, and nails. For the hair and nails, thinning hair is common during perimenopause. Brittle nails, that becomes a bit common during perimenopause. Not for everyone, but it's possible. And with the hair, also, if you have an increase of gray hair has a wiry texture, and because gray hair is lacks the pigmentation and the ability to absorb color, if you're still dyeing your hair, having to update, just like with your skincare products, having to update your hair care products as well, just because of the texture of your hair changing, and then the possibility of thinning hair as well, just the evolution of everything related to us. And finally, there is another lesser spoken about symptom or side effect of perimenopause, and that is inflammation as a reaction to stress. So, unexplained inflammation. And again, I strongly urge you to get these things checked out. Although to know that you have unexplained inflammation would suggest that you have gone through the testing and whatnot in order to identify and be able to see that you have some inflammation, and then finding out that it is unexplained. That is something that can be directly having that unexplained inflammation in your body. That is something that could be directly related to the hormonal fluctuation and changes in your body, and thus the perimenopause stage of life. So let me know, do you have any of these symptoms? Are you experiencing any of these changes? Are there any unexplained changes that you experience that I have not mentioned today that you want to throw out there? And maybe that you were curious about, or know that it has to be tied to you going through perimenopause. And like I was saying, it's different for everyone, and the age of occurrence, the frequency of occurrence, all of that differs from woman to woman. So share below so that we can all, know that we're in this together, and we're just not alone in our experiences. So let me know, and let me know if you like this video. Hit that like button, and I will post future videos with little chit chats about some other topics that are relevant to me and that I feel may be of relevance to you as well. So it's been a pleasure speaking with you today, and I will be in touch with more videos. Peace.